Hey guys, Stefan Kaczynski here. I'm going to be going over socioeconomic status for my topic demographic. So the first thing I'll do is talk about what the book said, specifically chapter 4. I'll go through some of that, and then I'll go through my article. After that, I'll go through my own personal experience with socioeconomic status within a school. In the book, I just highlighted a couple things that I thought were interesting. The book defines socioeconomic status as an individual's income, occupation, education, and prestige in society. The book cites one definition that Levine and Levine used to describe the 5 groups of American social economic status. That's upper, upper middle, upper working, and lower working. Upper class was 3%, upper middle class 22%, lower middle class 34%, upper working 28%, and lower working class was 13%. They said that there was an educational line in between upper working and lower middle, that the lower middle class and then those as they went up further and further all the way up to upper class were sort of an education line that the people in the lower middle, and upper class all tended to have at least bachelor degrees. So they sort of defined it as an education line, while the upper working and lower working classes didn't have jobs that required a degree. So I don't really like the term upper working and lower work. I shouldn't say that. I don't like the terms upper middle and lower middle when you term the bottom 2 working classes, because I think that more than likely those upper 3 probably had to work just as hard as any of the others in the lower 2. So to say that they're just upper class rather than a working class, I think is sort of inaccurate. But the book went on to say that students' social class origins are likely to have a profound effect on attitudes and behaviors in school. Nothing crazy there. Students from working class or lower class backgrounds are less likely than middle class students to enter school knowing how to count, read, or write. The majority of all low-income families are white. This is sort of, while it's true, I think we should note that the majority of families in America are white, so naturally you're going to have some white majority there. One thing it cites from Epstein and Sanders, there are 6 types of school involvement: assisting with parenting, communicating about school programs, etc., volunteering, learning at home, decision-making, and collaborating with the community. So now into the article that I read was called "How Do Teachers Talk About Economic Inequality, the Complexity of Teaching at a Socioeconomically Integrated Elementary School." So in this article, they interview a bunch of teachers from this one school. It was in Los Angeles. It was a kindergarten through 6th grade, and they had students whose parents made anywhere from under 10 grand to over $1 million. The median income was $150 to $200K for median annual family income. So the teachers believe that student socioeconomic status was a salient dimension of diversity among students. They believed that the students could tell the difference between each other, and they didn't really want to talk about it. So I think a couple of things that we can do as teachers, and this is where I'll kind of get into my own experience, is first and foremost, just like anything else we talk about as teachers, we need to get to know the kids. We need to get to know their status, and we can do that from talking to them preferably outside of the view of the rest of the class, because they might not want to talk to you about their family's, status in front of the rest of the class. And it should be noted that a lot of times what they say to you in front of the rest of the class won't necessarily be what they mean to say or what they want to tell you. So for instance, for me, I was interning at Bennett Middle School, and we were doing height and weight in PE. So we were having the kids take their shoes off to get measured, obviously height and weight. And I had a bunch of kids come up to me and say, "Hey, I don't want to take my shoes off because my feet stink." So I said, "Okay, no problem. I'll just add on a pound and an inch." But what I found out afterwards was that the teacher who I was working with said, a lot of times they'll have holes in their socks so their family can't afford socks. Like, that's really what they want to tell you, but they don't want to say that in front of the rest of their class because they can be embarrassed. Another thing we can do with socioeconomic status, if we know that one student is from a higher realm and one student's from a lower, we can have them work together, sort of work that middle ground. And lastly, just encourage the parents to get involved. That's sort of been an overriding theme that we've had in the educational field is, parental involvement can help with all things academic progress and whatnot. So thanks, guys.